yourself, raise your hand. I'll call on you. Reed, you want to start us off? Yeah. Go ahead.
Coach, from your perspective, just what went wrong and what did you tell your team after?
Turnovers at the wrong time. Turnovers. Had critical turnovers. Maybe a couple of them back to back, but I thought the momentum shifted there when we had those, Raiden took it on an inbounds and it's little things like that that we've got to mature and grow up and be prepared for.
Right here, Corey, in front.
It seemed like Nice never really got comfortable today. Just, I guess from your vantage point, just what were they doing? I know they doubled her some, but what were they doing that kind of just got her out of the game just a little bit?
I thought she did fine. She had a double-double. She's what, 5'11", 6 foot in there, and she led everybody in rebounding. Hell, we had 28 offensive boards, and you lost by 10, so what does that tell you? It tells you we're not doing anything when we get those offensive boards. You got to do something with them. You got to score. You got to take good shots. I didn't think Nice did anything but what she usually does. Yeah.
Coach, not many teams hold South Carolina under a point per possession, especially in this building, what you guys did. What did you like from your defense and the defensive effort today?
I thought our defense, and I thought South Carolina's defense was good. Low-scoring game. Both teams, scouted each other pretty darn good, and it wasn't an entertaining game from an offensive standpoint, but I didn't think it was a boring game. I thought it was a very good game. We just played our man-to-man like we always do. We didn't double anybody. I didn't notice that South Carolina did anything different. Just two teams that are very talented going at it.
Hey, Kim, Pete Yakabelli from the AP. OJ had a big first half and was able to get a bunch of points there. They kind of locked down on her a little bit in the second half. What did you see them change up on her?
Nothing. Just bowed their neck and contested shots and got physical. That was a very physical way. They'd have a hand on her when she'd try to catch the ball, but that's the way we defend. That's basketball. Flage guarded Pow Pow, right? Look at Pow Pow's stats. So Flage had a decent day too. It's just, guys, in this game, it's just a little thing that usually is the difference. And to me, it was turnovers at the most critical time that allowed the crowd to get into it, allowed them to gain a little more confidence, and yeah.
Go for a few more in here and then a few with our local on Zoom. Anybody else in here? Reed?
Are we still an enigma, Reed? What you think?
I don't know. You tell me.
Me either. You watched that game. Are we still an enigma? Or are we pretty decent?
I think you're pretty good.
I do too. Learned a lot about my team today.
What did you learn?
I learned we can hang with the best in the country. And I do think they're the best in the country. I know UCLA put it on them, but I do think, look, I don't know that I've ever coached against a team that's got 10 McDonald's All-Americans on a roster. How do you even keep 10 on a roster? And that's what we faced today. And what a challenge it was. And it was an enjoyable game to coach in. And man, was it good for women's basketball, but it was good for the SEC.
How do you get over the hump?
What is the hump? Beating them? Well, let me ask you this. What's most important in sports? Winning national championships, winning conference championships, or just beating a team you hadn't beat in the 5 times you played them? Which one's the most important? You dang right. You stay in this business long enough, it's a game of runs. When I started at Baylor University, I couldn't beat Oklahoma. Stayed after it, got tired of the sports writer asking me about it. He quit asking me, we caught up with him. I know you look for different things. I get all that, but at the end of the day, this is the beginning of the 4th year of my tenure at LSU. And if I ever put beating South Carolina as a priority over Natty's, they're too good to do that right now. Dawn's been here 17 years. But I do remember playing them when I was at Baylor, when I had been there 17, 18, 19 years. You don't focus on those things, Reed. You focus on the bigger picture. And the bigger picture right now for LSU and for South Carolina is we're doing our part in women's basketball to bring great recognition and great games. And let's keep doing it.
One with Corey and then one back there before we go with a couple here.
Kim, how do you start the process of, very positive game for the team today, how do you start the process of building on that positivity and momentum?
Well, let me tell you, I'm not into moral victories, so let's get that out there. We lost, but it was a good game. You talk about what each of them could have done better. You make them answer it. You get in the film room for a short period of time, and then you get back to work. You head to Baton Rouge, and you get in that film room for a little bit, then you start on a very good A&M team that just beat Kentucky at home. This is not the biggest game of the year. Y'all might think it is, but it's not. The biggest game of the year is when you get to the playoffs, and you gotta keep grinding. But yeah, kudos to South Carolina. Great crowd today. They're good.
Brendan Doherty from the Daily Gamecock. Coach, you had your starting 5 play 85% of your minutes tonight. South Carolina had 8 players play at least 15. Did you feel like there was fatigue as you reached the 4th quarter?
Well, you got 10 McDonald's All-Americans. Flip a coin. Y'all can play any of them you want. Got to keep them happy, right? I don't have that. I've got to go with what I have, what I feel in my gut. Fatigue could play a part, you know, but I always tend to give credit to the opponent. The shots we missed could have been fatigue. The shots we missed could have been their good defense. Yeah, you got that many. Who you gonna stop? Pick your poison.
All right, questions here on Zoom? Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, Kim. Hey, Kim, Matt Green, with on 3. Just defensively, what the way did you do to bother and stay in the game? Just what did you like and what did y'all do effectively?
Well, we rebounded. I mean, we dominated the boards against a South Carolina team, but we've always been able to rebound. There are 2 things, Matt, and I've told y'all this in our press conferences at home. I learned from the best in the business, Leon Barmore and Pat Summitt. If they didn't teach me anything, they said you better defend and you better rebound because you're not going to shoot it good every night. So our rebounding kept us in the game when we were not shooting it and we missed shots and didn't get to the foul line. And I thought our defense made them have to work hard to score the ball. I can't think of many just easy shots that they got. And you can build on that. You can build on that, and when you see a game and it comes to fruition that those 2 things were big today, then it makes them continue to work hard in those areas.
Cobble?
Yeah, do you feel like you gotta have more than just the big 3 that you got to kind of win these big games here that you want to play in March?
Well, sure, you'd like to have more, you know, and I do think we have more depth on the perimeter, but our bench was not very productive tonight. And it has been very good all year. But yeah, you'd like to have more than those 3. I'm gonna call Dawn and tell her to send me some of those she doesn't play. I don't think she'll do it though.
Brandon?
Hey, Coach, this is Brandon Harley with New Stage Media. I know it was a talk about you guys playing the soft schedule. A lot of people kind of frown upon it, but tonight coming out against South Carolina, played a good game and came up short. What are your takes on that?
I've been doing this 40 years. Do you it's not the first time I've heard people complain about a soft schedule. I know my team better than anybody, and what I've been doing has worked. I think I don't get caught up into what the TV people want you to do or the NCAA selection committee thinks you should do. If we didn't send a message today, who do we need to play to send the message to? We were on their home court, and I think everybody got to answer some of that enigma questions about a soft schedule or whatever. We won a national championship, buddy, and everybody talked about the soft non-conference schedule. So that ship has sailed. Nobody needs to talk about that anymore. Let coaches do what they need to do to get their teams ready for the playoffs, and that's my goal every time I step on that court.
All right, guys, thank you.
Mhm.
Thanks.
Oh, you're welcome.